Hey friends, today we're standing in the Klipsch Museum of Audio History. My name is Becky Moore, and I'm with the Klipsch Heritage Museum Association. And today we're talking about speakers, sounds, and communications, but I need a friend to help me explain just a few things. So meet my friend, Jim Hunter. He is the curator of the Klipsch Museum of Audio History. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
What is so special about Paul W. Klipsch?
Well, Paul Klipsch was a very, very curious man, and he was an engineer. And so he developed things from his curiosity. This is about a 100-year-old horn from an old antique phonograph. And Paul realized that horns would make a loudspeaker sound better. So in all of his designs, he had some form of horn. This is how I sound without the horn, and this is how I sound with the horn. The horn helps get the sound moving in the air.
Do you have a sample of how a speaker sounds when we're playing some music?
Certainly. This is a phonograph or a record player.
How does it work?
There is no electricity involved. This is all mechanical. So you have to crank it up to get it started. The record has the sound vibrations on it. There's a needle here that hooks to this horn. This is the big part of the horn. And so the sound goes through the horn and out into the room so that everybody can hear it.
Jim, could you show us other examples of speakers?
I'd love to. Well, this, all the way to the floor, is a 1930s movie theater speaker. Movie sound was the good sound back in the 1930s, and Paul Klipsch wanted to develop a small version of this that you could put in the living room.
Well, let's see some of those smaller speakers.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
Wow, it really looks like Paul Klipsch was able to get the speaker in a smaller size.
Well, this is one of his very first production speakers from 1947. This was made to go in someone's living room to reproduce their records and their radios.
Why don't we go over to the Klipsch Heritage Museum Association Visitor Center and go into a home-like setting and see the speakers in the home and listen to music?
Let's do it.
Hello friends, we are now in the Visitor Center. When you visit us in this home, we can take you on a trip through time. We are standing in the 70s room right now, so you can see the turntable, the furnishings of the 70s, as well as the speakers of the 70s. Hey Jim, why don't we take them to the 1950s?
Let's do that.
Hello friends, we actually made it to the 50s room, Jim. So you can see the furniture of the 50s, the speakers of the 50s. Can you tell us why these are so special?
These loudspeakers are almost older than me. They're 65 years old. They are original and they have never been modified. They are just the way they sounded. They did not waste a lot of money on being pretty, but they function very, very well.
Okay, Jim, why don't we take a listen?
Great. Becky, we're sitting here in the middle of the room because that is the best place. You want to be the same distance from the two speakers, and that gives you the best sound.
Well, now that we've listened to the music in the living room, why don't we go over to the auditorium and see what the speakers look like in the auditorium?
Sounds like a good idea.
Well, friends, we are in our final location on our Klipsch tour. We have enjoyed listening to music in a living room setting, but Jim, this is a massive location.
Yes, this is an actual auditorium. While the speakers were made for home use, they were made so well that you can have an actual rock and roll concert using these two speakers.
So that causes me to say, has anyone famous performed in this auditorium?
In the mid-1950s, Elvis Presley played here.
Wow, that's pretty cool. If you would like to learn more about Klipsch speakers and take a tour of the Visitor Center and the museum and see this lovely auditorium, we invite you to join us in a place called Hope.